Hi guys, and here we are again. Another Weight Watcher meeting highlights video. We'll start off with the sad news of my weigh-in. And it's sad because going in the wrong direction yet again. This week I gained 1.2 pounds. So as I said, going in the wrong direction. I wasn't surprised by that. I have not hit my goal of 10,000 steps, but only yesterday. I started back with walking with Sandy yesterday, and I did over like 11,000. Yeah, I can't lose weight if I don't walk, if I don't move. It's just who I am. It's what I know. I do pretty good with my weight choices, my food choices, but I have to move, and I know it. And I just really haven't been motivated to do it, and I'm busy with so many things, and I use that as an excuse, and I can't use it as an excuse because no matter what, I can fit in walking because I walk around my house when I want to get my steps in, and I haven't done it. I haven't made it a priority, so that's what I got to work on this week. And it's triathlon. I got another little thing in there. I guess you get 11 over 13 weeks, you'll get a little charm. So I got that little stamp in there. This week's weekly, and it's befriend your body. And we didn't really talk about this in the meeting, but I'll talk about what they have in here briefly. It's how can you make friends with your body and how does it help? Negative body images at the beginning of a weight loss journey can impact your success, and that a positive body image can lead to more positive weight loss experience. So they gave you a little checklist as to what you think of yourself, and I'm not going to go through all of that, but anyway, think again. Your weekly, even better, think again. Oh, I got a little message. Sorry for that. I apologize. I don't want to stop the video. Okay, so sorry about that. I hate when people do that when you're on the phone, you know, and then they talk to the people at the house instead of you on the phone or whatever. But anyway, again, apologies. Think again, trash talking about your body. What activated you have to think of the ABCs. So what activated this thought? A. What does it make you believe? B. What are the consequences? C. Of this thought. How can you dispute this idea with a countering thought? D. And what are the effects of this counter thinking? E. So give that thought. I'm going to read the little quotes. You know, they have the people meet, you know, either leaders or just people on their website. Whether I'm dancing around the house with my daughters or walking for miles on the American Tobacco Trail, I love the way my body moves. She's a leader. Yeah. I am not at my weight goal. My stomach isn't flat, but I tried on a bikini and it made me feel good. I'm not going to wait till my perfect to wear it. You see you at the beach. Body confidence. Hashtag body confidence. Another one, a little loose skin is a small price to pay. We might not end up with perfect bodies, but happiness doesn't require perfection. Hashtag loose skin. Hashtag worth it. Strength training can help boost body love. Do a minute each of squats, lunges, push-ups, and planks daily. Anyway, look in the mirror and compliment yourself on something you see. That's their thought. And that's about it for the book. Okay, and we had Dorothy there. Great, I love that. A packed meeting yet again, as they always are. Same lady that keeps talking, talked again. Anyway, aside from that, one person, I really like everybody else in there, and everything goes well, and everybody participates and talks, and she jokes. And I was sitting in the front row originally by myself, and there's usually other ladies in that row. And so Dorothy says to me, Denise, what's the matter? I go, I don't know. I took a shower today. Well, everybody laughed. Well, then other people came in after that because the meeting had already got started, and other people sat in the row. So once they sat down, she says, they didn't hear that original thing. And then so she said to them, she says, see, they knew Denise shower today. So everybody laughed again. But it's just a good time. The topic today was easy and healthy ways to slash your points. Because, you know, we have to make room for it. And like she said, this is coming up to a lot of things. Parties, graduations, showers, you know, weddings. And so you want to try to slash your points, but not like go crazy. Not go crazy. Not skip meals, which is what I do. And to try to, so she gave some helpful hints here. The first one is start with a nonstick pan. If you're going to, you have to use the oil, because you're going to have to count the points for that oil, even though you're not going to actually be consuming it or enjoying it. So you might want to try to use a nonstick pan so you can avoid that. And other people's, other ways to prepare your food is to grill, because then all the fat drops off of it, so that's a good thing. To steam your vegetables, either on the top of the stove or in the microwave, and to microwave things, because I'm not a big fan of the microwave other than to heat things up, but people cook with those, and if you're doing that instead of frying, I guess that's the point. That's the point. Number 2 was, what do you call that? I wrote it down and I can't read my own writing. That's sad. What do you call it? Can't think of the word, and you know, when you put your stuff in and you want to marinate, not marinating. If you with the normal stuff that you like, wines and fruits and orange juice and all the other kind of things you do, she was saying that to use chicken broth that you made yourself, and that way you can skim off all the fat. You know how it settles, and you can get rid of all the fat, and then use what's left for your marinade, or use water. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Anyway. And then going along with that, instead of marinating in those things, you could use a homemade salsa, which would be, you know, mostly things that you can have with no points. Salsa is very good. I mean, you have to do the olive oil and that count those points. But aside from that, light Italian dressing that's fat-free, low sodium teriyaki. Or instead of using an actual liquid, then people said to use the Grill Master spices instead of marinating. And there are low sodium options in that. And so to get the flavor instead of, you know, soaking it. But she says if you're not consuming it and you're using fat-free, you don't necessarily have to count those points. Now, that's an option. That's not official Weight Watchers. That's her thoughts. Because most of that does not soak into your chicken or your meat or whatever, and it's just to give it the outside flavoring on the outside, but that's, you know, if you want to give some points because you just want to be that person, just go ahead. But to her mind, if you're using fat-free and light things, she doesn't count those points because most of it is not being consumed. And then crunch with lunch. If you want to be a crunch with lunch person, instead of getting that bag of chips or something similar to that, try to use veggies. And you say, how boring. No, she says, you know what? You don't know. Really what you want is the crunch. You want to, you know, into something. And I made that silly noise, sorry. And if you have a celery stick or a carrot stick, with whatever you're eating, I mean, that's not your lunch. It's the side to your lunch. It's just that might just be what you're craving is the crunch, and try it. So, and try not to go then think, oh, I'm going to have the veggies, and so let me have some ranch to dip it in. I mean, if you do a light ranch and you count the points and it's part of your lunch, that's perfectly fine. But the whole idea is to try to get to use the crunch for your thing. And then opt for a strong flavored cheese. A little bit goes a long way. And so and people were talking about, well, when you use the fat-free cheeses, they don't melt, like if you're trying to do a little pizza or you're doing it on the top. And she says that if you add a little bit of olive oil to the cheese, then of course you have to count those points. So just do a little bit, she says. Doesn't require a lot. And you want to get those healthy oils in anyway. So mix that with the cheese and then put the cheese on top, like if you're making a pizza. And I guess that helps it melt. I don't know. I use regularly, you know, as you probably know if you've watched any of my food vlogs, I just use regular cheddar cheese and I count the points. I just don't use a lot of it. I just want to know what's in there. It's probably more in my mind than actual taste of eating it. Because, yeah, I don't like diet stuff. Clearly, look at me, don't like diet stuff. That was a sad statement. But anyway, and when you're baking, of course, people probably know most of these, but you want to use the same amounts. They're equivalent to, like, if you, instead of oil, and if it requires oil, then you could use applesauce. You could use prune puree. I don't know. You could use baby food, which I never even thought of. And if you are, or mashed bananas, like you try to get an equivalent, and you know, instead of using the oil. And then if you are going to use sugar, to reduce it by 1/3, and just that's a help, because you won't miss 1/3. But then, of course, if you're going to use like your stevias and all the other Splendas and all that stuff, then I guess it's equal to amount. I don't know. I don't use any of those, but okay. Number 7 is trim visible fat on meat before you cook it, and you should remove the skin before you cook it. So it should be boneless, skinless. Well, I don't know about the bone, but all the extra fat around it that you can visibly see. If you can see it, cut it off. And people were, you know, not arguing, discussing whether or not, like, if you cook a piece of chicken and then you pull the skin off, you're not eating the skin, is it counted the same? Well, she says that we're getting into like the nitpicking here. If you're pulling off the skin, yes, some of that could have seeped into your chicken or whatever, and that is extra. It is extra than when it should have been cooked, but that's not how you ended up in that meeting. By having that little bit extra come off the skin and get into the chicken. And so, I mean, you can't quibble about all these little things. You're trying to eat as healthiest choices as possible. And yes, you should not eat the skin. Most definitely not eat the skin. But if it's easier to cook, or it already comes like that way, or you're at somebody's place and you want to eat something, you know, don't say, oh, I can't have that, it has skin on it. I mean, obviously, pull the skin off, move on, and, you know, eat it. So, if you're doing casseroles, people like to do casseroles, I guess, in winter and summer, if you ask me. And replace half of the meats with some type of beans or lentils. Oh, he's driving me crazy. That's my son again. I told him I was filming. I'm sorry. Okay. And let me see where I'm at here. I got me off track. Oh, replace half the meats with either beans, lentils, or brown rice or something like that. So just you'll be better off having those lentils and beans and then the meat. But also to beef up your casseroles with vegetables. So if you can replace some of the meat or chicken or whatever with more vegetables, then you could have a little bit of the taste of the meat or chicken. But, you know, try to think of it more as, oh, I'm going to have more vegetables into it. And in restaurants, just some, everybody knows these things, but obviously plan ahead. Look at the menu. Try to plan what you're going to do before you go. Drink a lot of water, so you won't wanting to be eating as much. Forget the bread, obviously. Eat shrimp out. I guess that's a good thing if you like it. Not me. You can order half portions, and either just order half portions and then they charge you less, or tell them right from the get-go, I only want a half a portion on my plate, please, I want to box the rest, so then you can eat it the next day. And then there was somebody who owned a restaurant, and she said, you know what, people always say, oh, nobody likes to have you go, I don't want this, and can you cook it in not butter, and can you do whatever. They want you to come back. So he says, I'm an owner, and I'd much rather you tell me I don't want to have, I want this on the side, or please don't put this in the plate, and make an extra little bit of work back in my kitchen, because if I do that for you, you're going to come back. And that's what I want. I want that repeat customer. I don't want you to come just one time and then have, and even have something that you don't want because they wouldn't do it for you, or you felt like they were, you know, being put out by this request. Because even if they do it, but they get that attitude, you're not going to come back, because you're not going to want to have to do that. You don't want to be the person who's so darn picky that, you know, everybody thinks you're high maintenance. She said, everybody in today's day and age, you know, they have, you know, dietary restrictions of some sort or another, or they should. And she said, and she's talked to her staff, both wait and back in the cooking area. She didn't say what restaurant she owned. Nobody asked her either. But anyway, and she said to tell them that this is, this is our customer service. There should be no attitude. And it's not like it's so much more difficult to not put butter on something or whatever. Now, obviously, if you're coming with one kind of a meal and you want to have it completely opposite, that's a little bit more than what she's talking about. But she's just saying, if you want the dressing on the side, if you want no bacon in the salad, if something like that, yeah, ask for it. I think my thing is going to stop. I think it's blinking. So I'm going to stop right there so I don't stop in the middle of something, and I'll change my battery and be right back. Okay, I'm back. Anyway, at least I caught it this time. Sometimes I don't notice that that's happening. Now we're on to nuts. She says that a lot of people like to put nuts on their salads, like walnuts sliced, almonds, or something like that. Her suggestion is to, number one, toast them. It can enrich the flavor. But if you don't want to even be bothered with that, she says grind them to make them, to get away with a lot less on your salad. So if you grind half the amount that you would normally use, but it's like almost to a powder, you can sprinkle that around your whole salad and get that taste and everything in your salad. So that was kind of a good idea. And then on that kind of side note, she said, like the chocolate chips, if you use the mini chocolate chips, like if you're gonna, sometimes people just eat those like in a little bowl and they'll count the points because they just want chocolate and they don't want to buy a candy bar and then have those in the house. She says, if you use the minis, you're visually thinking you're getting more. You're getting the same weight, you're getting the same amount, really. But in your mind, you're tricking your mind to think, ooh, I got double the amount because they're mini. Anyway, and then of course swap out the typical things that you use, like spaghetti squash instead of pasta, and egg beaters or egg whites instead of like whole eggs or anything like that. Anytime you can do that, do it. I mean, you might think that, well, what's in one thing matter? Well, if you add this one thing and that one thing and that one thing, by the end of the week, you've made a couple of, little tweaks to your week. And those tweaks could add up to maybe a half pound on the scale. You don't know. So don't think of anything as not worth the effort. And then she talked about, remember tracking in water. Somebody had lost like over 3 pounds. They had been stagnant for a little while. And then this week they lost 3-point-something pounds. And they only recommend you lose 1 to 2 pounds a week. But when you're kind of on that plateau and then you finally do something, 1 week, that doesn't alarm them in any way. And so she said that, what was her secret? And she says, I went back to tracking. Even when it was bad, I put it in there and I drank more water. Every time I thought of something, I drank water. And it was like almost like a game, like you see when you hear a word and then you got to take a drink. She says, I would just think, okay, water. And then she would take some water. Even if it was just a couple sips, like all through the day, she'd just try to get her water in. So that made her difference. And the best source of hydration is plain water. That's what your body doesn't have to do anything extra to go through. Now, if you add things into there like lemons in your water or Crystal Light or anything like that, your body has to work a little bit harder for it. It's still worth it though. If that's how you're going to get your water in, then do it, because better for you to do that and have your body work a little harder than not to do it at all and think, screw it, I don't like plain water, I'm not going to drink plain water, and then not have anything. If you got to flavor it a little bit, and some of those flavorings, even if they're counting points, write it down, but still do it because you're still getting water, and that's really what your body really needs. And then eat all your points. Don't try to think that, if I just skim 5 off every day, by the end of the week I'm going to lose weight. No, they've got this formulated out, and I'm a person who does this, and it's not really intentional. I'm not thinking, I'm going to skim some off so I can lose weight. It's really a matter of my choices. I've made my choices, and if they don't add up to my 30 points, which 30 points isn't a lot, but I'm making conscious choices to try to stay under or to hit 30. And so sometimes I'm under, but then I think, well, I don't want to go eat something just so I can say I hit the 30. That's bad for me personally, because then I think, if I got 5 points to use, let me eat it on something bad. I'd rather just say, okay, I'm not going to have that 5 points. That's a choice that I'm making, and I'm not recommending that. Everybody does their own thing, and things work for you, don't work for me kind of thing. I just know who I am. And so But she says your goal is to hit that point. Hit that point, and you have your weeklies if you go a little bit over. You know, this past week I did go into my weeklies and I gained weight. I generally try not to go into my weeklies. That doesn't work for me. Again, personally, that's what affects me. And so I think a lot of mine has to do with, I did go into the weeklies, but also I didn't move, as I said earlier. So it's not just one thing. A couple people brought some things in, like food choices, and I'll share those with you. They had both of them were from Costco. One of them was a cranberry almond chicken salad, and it's in the refrigerator section at Costco, kind of by where the fruits are, she said. And it's like a container that carried 6 little cups, you know, like if you think of pudding cups or something like that, that kind of idea. And so you get 6 of them there. They have a very long shelf life, and they're 6 points each. And so she would either just eat that by itself. She'd put it in a wrap, so she'd have it as a sandwich. She'd put it in lettuce for addition to a salad, and that kind of idea. And then the other person, it was by the company named Hannah, H-A-N-N-A-H, and they were stuffed tomato and zucchini. And they had red and yellow peppers in it also. Half a cup of that is 4 points. But again, it was just something that she could throw on or throw into a sandwich or a salad, and she liked those. I wouldn't try either one because I really don't like cranberries. Like, I like cranberry juice, but not cranberries themselves. And I can't have peppers, so I wouldn't be trying either one of those, but you might want to try that. For the week, our total loss was 63.2 pounds, even though I didn't help with any of that. I'll still report it. And again, it was a good meeting. I went even though I knew I had gained. That's when I need it the most, and I know that. So much as I don't like to go there and see that number written down on my little sticker, I still go. So I would highly recommend that you do the same should you be a person who goes to meetings. If you're not a person who goes to meetings, hopefully this has been helpful to you. If you think it has been and you want to share it with someone, that'd be great. If you could hit the like button, that'd be great too. Leave any comments, questions below. If I can't answer them directly, I will ask my leader and then be able to answer them next week. And subscribe to this if you're new to my channel. We'd love to have you. I don't just do this. I do other, you know, what I eat in a day, and we do a Whatever Wednesday that people seem to like. My sister and I, Sandy and I, are on this channel together, so I hope you can join us. Thanks, guys.